Gabrielle, Patricia, Danielle for inviting me here. It's a great honor. My title is A Personal Journey. I'm an art historian, but I don't pretend that you come to subjects in a kind of objective way. I come to subjects in a kind of intuitive way, or because of time, circumstance and place. And that's how I found Leonora Carrington as an artist, and also at a certain point as somebody I knew quite well personally here in Mexico City. I'm an art historian. I'm a museum man, really. I was head of exhibitions in the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. After that I was senior curator of art of Glasgow Museums in Scotland. And then I became director of Parent House Gallery in the south of England. The next one, please. Just to give you a bit of an idea where the place is. You know, you see London, and then there's the south, and then you see maybe Portsmouth and Brighton, and there's a small cathedral next, please. There's a small, the next, please. There's a small town, it's called Chichester. It's a Roman town. It has a beautiful cathedral. And I became the director of a gallery there, which was not on the national map in Britain, but had to be put on the national map. And the next one, please. That's the gallery. It's a beautiful Grade 1 listed building, the early 18th century, with an enormous, you can't see it because it's very well hidden, but a very, very big contemporary extension. Well, what do you do as a director of a gallery? You look around your place and you look for subjects which are locally interesting, but also nationally interesting and also internationally interesting. So I was quite lucky in the south of England because it's a very cultural place. There are many composers who live there, artists. I just only have to mention, for instance, the Bloomsbury Group, very close to where this place is. And I can also mention people like Edward James and Roland Penrose and Lee Miller. Next one, please. So basically you see two red dots, and the dot on the right-hand side is the place where Roland Penrose and Lee Miller lived. The dot on the right-hand, on the left-hand, on the right-hand side. The dot on the left-hand side, 10 minutes away from my rancho, from my town, is the place where Edward James lived. Next one, please. This is the house of Sir Roland Penrose and Lee Miller. Now, Penrose was probably the most important writer. He was a painter himself, art historian of his time in the 30s, 40s, 50s. He was the founder of the Institute of Contemporary Art in London, one of the most important institutes in its time. Next one, please. And this is him. He was a painter, but he was also a great friend of people like Picasso, Man Ray, and that whole group, in France in the 1930s. Next one, please. And this is the girl he met, the woman he met in 1937. I call it the Summer of Love, and you will understand a little bit later why. This is the woman, and she's called Lee Miller. She was an American photographer. She was the lover of Man Ray in the early 30s, became a very, very good photographer in her own right, one of the best, I think, of the 20th century. And she met Roland Penrose in 1937. Some of you maybe have seen, and I'm really grateful for Sylvia, who's here, the director of the Museum of Modern Art here in Mexico City. Some of you have maybe seen last year, the year before, the Lee Miller retrospective in the Museo de Arte Moderno here in Chapultepec. And then you will understand why I say she's one of the greatest photographers of the 20th century, I think. Next one. The year before 1937, before the Summer of Love, Roland Penrose, he is the man in the middle. He looks a little bit serious. 1, 2, 3, the fourth on the left, from the left. Roland Penrose organized the first surrealist exhibition in London in the New Burlington Galleries. And who was there? At the end on the right, you see Salvador Dali, who nearly was killed because he had a diving uniform on and he was suffocated. And they just saved him. And next to him, next to Dali, you see a man who plays the other role in My Voyage to Leonora Carrington, and that's Edward James, who at that time was the greatest patron of Salvador Dali. Next. The Summer of Love. In 1937, Leonora Carrington met Max Ernst at the opening of his exhibition in London, his solo exhibition, which was organized by Roland Penrose. It's a small world, but those two were the main movers and shakers in the British art world in the 30s. Not the Tate, none of the galleries, nothing, no museums, no, those two. They were the center of what was going on in contemporary art in Britain. Anyway, they all went to the Penrose summer house in Cornwall. 20-year-old Carrington met 46-year-old Max Ernst, and this is a photograph by Lee Miller of the two who had just fallen in love. And that was shown for the first time in the Museo de Arte Moderno exhibition here in Mexico City, because the son of Lee Miller and Roland Penrose promised to Leonora that during her lifetime he would never publish it. After her death, everything was okay, but not during her lifetime. So that was a unique premiere for Mum here. Next. So, Edward James. This is 10 minutes down the road from my museum. This is the house of the family. He never lived there really, but he transformed a hunting lodge, on the same estate, the West Dean estate, into a surrealist dream. Next, please. This is the hunting lodge, and basically the bamboo pillars at the outside, the colors, everything was transformed by Edward James into a surrealist house. Next, please. You maybe all know the Mae West Lips sofa by Salvador Dali. That was designed, those sofas were designed for this house. Next. Next, please. You all have seen the lobster telephone. I think there were something like 18 lobster telephones in this house. So basically, a lot of those iconic Salvador Dali pieces were all designed for this house. Next, please. And this is Edward James. And this is quite nice, because this is a photograph by Kati Horna. Again, I think one of the best photographers of the 20th century. One photographer. And the photograph is dedicated to Remedios Vara, also a close friend of this man, Edward James. Next, please. Well, in 1944, Leonora Carrington met Edward James on the beach in Acapulco, and they became friends. And he became her most important collector, patron collector. This is the first work he bought from her. It's called The House Opposite. And I think in many ways it is one of the most important paintings by Carrington, because it has all the keys to her work in this work. Next. And this is the first commission of Edward James to Leonora Carrington. It's not only important as a painting, but it's also one of the best documented works. Leonora writes to Edward James about it all the time. He writes about it to her. And in 1947, just after Gabrielle was born, she writes, the painting is finished. They called it the seascape, not the giantess as it is called now. Amongst themselves, they called it the seascape. And she says, well, she describes the whole thing, and then in the end of the letter she says, yes, and the head of the giantess, well, I suppose it's the baby. more or less. So it's the head of Gabriel. Next. Well, Edward James not only had a personal link with Leonora as a close friend, but also with Mexico, and he and his friend created this garden, Las Posas, in San Luis Potosí, and some of you maybe have been there. And this is Leonora painting, and Gabriel remembers it because he was there, painting the mural in the house in the town of Edward James and the Castellum family. Next. Well, I told you about the bamboo in the house in England. Well, the bamboo also comes back in the garden in San Luis Potosí, in Las Posas. This is Edward James standing on the steps with the bamboo screen. Next. Next, please. Well, Edward James not only was a collector, not only a friend, the correspondence is really, really very extensive between Leonora and him, but also he orchestrated the first solo exhibition of Leonora's work in New York in 1948 in the Pierre Matisse Gallery. And this is the outside of the Pierre Matisse Gallery. Next. Okay, so basically, I had quite a few reasons to be interested in Leonora Carrington. Not only via Penrose, but also via Edward James. So in 2007, I decided I'm going to do a Leonora Carrington show. It's 20 years ago that she had a show in London in the Serpentine Gallery. It's time she's coming back to England. But at the same time, I mean, okay, people say that she wasn't very well known. Well, let's say art historians and people in the know and interested people, of course, knew about Leonora Carrington in Britain. But it was time to present her work to a new generation, to new people. At the same time, as a director of a gallery, you think, okay, she's a little bit known, I want to introduce new people on the back of her fame. So I decided in 2010 to organize an exhibition called Surreal Friends, which was 50 works by Leonora Carrington, around 30 works by Remedios Varo, and 100 photographs by Kati Horna. It was called Surreal Friends. Of course, the Mexican embassy was really interested in all this, because as you know, 2010 was the bicentenary of independence and of the centenary of the revolution. And I thought, well, it's probably a very good subject to celebrate Mexico, because when Kati Horna, Remedios Varo and Leonora Carrington came to Mexico, it was a great moment in its history. The international solidarity opening the doors to all the Republicans, to all the people fleeing from war-torn Europe. So it became an exhibition to mark that moment in the history of in the history of Mexico, celebrated that year. This is the interior of one of the rooms of the Leonora Carrington show. Next. This is one of the rooms of the Remedios Varo show. And I only have one photograph of Kati Horna, and this is a photograph next by Kati Horna, one of the great photographs of her Spanish Civil War series. So between 2007 and 2011, I saw Leonora Carrington a lot. I spent hours and hours and hours in her kitchen, and all the time I was running back to the hotel in Alvaro Obregón to write down everything she had told me. And I hope to do something with that for the exhibition next year. And I'm very grateful to Sylvia, to Tere, my co-curator, I don't know where she is. She worked on the show in England for Remedios Varo, so we know each other very, very well. And I'm very grateful to Sylvia and all her team, also Museo Palacio Bellas Artes, that they have given us the honor to invite us for as guest curators of this exhibition next year. I hope you all will come. and see it. Thank you.